Horizon TV, kurunzi ya taifa.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and a very good evening right here from Horizon TV. I hope Ramadan is taking you well. Alhamdulillah, we are about to start the last 10 nights of Ramadan. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us the tawfiq to reach the last 10 nights of Ramadan, and may He accept our ibadah through that last 10 nights of Ramadan. And tonight, I'm joined by three great gentlemen for as far as justice, law, and is concerned in this country. I'm talking about the Deputy Chief Kadhi, Sheikh Sukyan, Hassan, Omar. Jazakallah khair. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm joined by the former Deputy Chief Kadhi, that is Sheikh Dr. Rashid Ali Omar, and an advocate and also a Jamia Mosque committee member, that is Sheikh Ibrahim Lethome, to discuss about the dispensation of justice in the Kadhi's court. Not just that, but everything to do with matters judiciary for as far as judiciary is concerned and the Muslim community. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, gentlemen, and thank you so much for making time for us this evening. Now, I'm just going to first get your opinions on the recent appointment or selection of the Chief Justice. And for the first time, we are having a lady Chief Justice, under the new constitution. Sheikh Rashid Ali Omar, to start with you, what's your take on Justice Martha Koome selection as the Chief Justice?
Bismillah, alhamdulillah. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم أما بعد. First and foremost, I personally congratulate Justice Martha Koome for being appointed as the Chief Justice. I'm saying that because I worked with her personally, and we were the officials of Kenya Magistrates and the Judge Association. I was her Vice Secretary General, and she was my chair lady. And at that time, I saw the signs of leadership in her. Actually, for over 25 years, I knew her. Actually somebody of broad thinking. She looks things, and actually when we were working with her, sometimes people disagree, but she has been a very patient person in how she was handling the institutions. And I personally was following up even the interview, and I found that she is a great lady. And since she has led also at some institution, a lower level of the judiciary institution, she can lead the country, and we wish her well.
Thank you. Before I come to you, Sheikh Hassan, I'd love to get Sheikh Lethome's point of view. Being an advocate, you must have maybe interacted with her on a different capacity. Following the interview, do you think there was a better candidate for that job?
Well, you see, whether we think there was a better candidate or not, that is now water under the bridge. The candidate who has been recommended by the Judicial Service Commission is Martha Koome. So whatever else, I think we need to move on with the country, and if Parliament approves her, because that is the only stage now, and before the President appoints her, I think she's the right person. Asking me about whether I've interacted with her very closely, I interacted with her when she was at FIDA, a very strong advocate of the rights of women. And then during the review process of the Constitution, during the Bomas process, we also interacted there just before she was appointed to join the judiciary. So I think she's a person of integrity, and we all wish her well. And I think Martha Koome showed her leadership skills, especially when she was heading the family division of the High Court. She showed a lot of leadership qualities there. So we wish her well. Those who maybe were better maybe during the interviews, and they did not get it, I think this is now water under the bridge. We should move on now. And the country now has a new Chief Justice. And may God help her in her work.
No, thank you so much. Sheikh Hassan, the Deputy Chief Kadhi, what's your take on the appointment of Justice Martha Koome as the Chief Justice?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa salatu wa salam ala nabina Muhammadin wa alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam wa ba'd. First of all, let me take this opportunity to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving us this opportunity. Especially let me thank the Horizon for giving us again one more chance to discuss matters of interest. Going back to the question that you asked, really my personal feeling, all those candidates who have been interviewed for the position of the Chief Justice were great men and women of this nation. And coming back to the new CJ now who have been declared the rightful candidate by the JSC, my personal feeling and my personal interaction with her is a person who will fit into that job. And I believe that she will take the will of the justice far ahead. I interacted with her and I found her as a person of every person, a person who is very, very humble, a lovely lady. Of course, her jurisprudence level is so quite high, but more so, she's quite humble person. And we think that especially when I speak on behalf of the Kadhi's Court, under her leadership, we have a lot of hope that she will bring a lot of assistance to us. And again, going forward, I wanted also to congratulate JSC generally for proving that it is an independent institution. There have been rumors doing around telling us so and so is the front runner, this is predetermined thing, things have already been done, names of the people have been mentioned, but the outcome is completely contrary as far as my understanding is concerned. Therefore, I also take this opportunity to congratulate that the JSC that we have today is a very, very strong body, which is not dictated by any other body, and we have as a Kenyans trust on them. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Recently, a few months back, we saw the advertisement of positions of Kadhis throughout the country. I mean, this is a position that has attracted a lot of attention. Now, former Deputy Chief Kadhi, again, I'm going to start with you, not to put you on the spot, but just to understand, because you have been in the system, you are there, you understand. How is the selection of these people, these Kadhis, these people who are going to serve us and dispense justice at the Kadhis level? How is it done? What's the procedure like?
Thank you very much. Normally, these people are going to be, first of all, what brings people to be advertised? You know that long time ago, where we came from, in regards to the Kadhi's court, there were some times where we had only 7 Kadhis.
Yeah.
The institution is growing, and that is after our work hard. After we did a lot of underground work, and the Kadhi's number has to be increased from place to place. You see now we had 54 Kadhis from 7. We started from 7 to now 54, and now they will be around 60.
Inshallah.
Inshallah. Now, the appointments of the Kadhis is the way we were appointed. That means the appointment of the Kadhis, the judiciary has got different courts, starting from Supreme Court, then Court of Appeal, High Court, the Kadhi's Court and the Magistrate Court, which are parallel to each other. The only thing, the jurisdiction is the difference, but they are at the same level. And then the tribunal and this thing. Now the judiciary has an employee, and that is Judicial Service Commission. Just the way you are seeing, just the Chief Justice was being employed, with a thorough interview of those who are the applicants. The same thing will happen, and that this is an issue of Judicial Service Commission. It is not an issue of Muslims or non-Muslims. It is purely a professional entity.
It's very clear. Okay? We might want to improve on it. After all, this is a man-made system. It's not a divine system revealed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it can always be improved. But I believe if it is followed to the letter, and only qualified people are appointed, then I am satisfied with that, and I think they are doing a great job. Of course, we have isolated cases whereby somebody might not be satisfied, and I think we are going to discuss that also. And that is not just limited to the Kadhi's courts. Any court could have people who maybe asleep on the job, who are not doing their job properly, and the rest. We have isolated cases. But as far as the procedure is concerned, as a person who has practiced, and especially in the Kadhi's courts, I'm satisfied with the process of appointment of the Judicial Service, by the Judicial Service Commission.
Now, can I take that your satisfaction extended to the selection of the chief Kadhi in the country?
Definitely, yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah, and especially that now, you see, it's purely a judicial appointment with no interference whatsoever.
You said now. From when exactly? When you're referring to now?
Okay. Unknown to many of you, especially the young generation like you, I sat in the panel that interviewed the current Chief Kadhi, the sitting Chief Kadhi. And the reason why I was called on board is the other members who are sitting there were not conversant with Sharia. So they had to bring in a person who is conversant with Sharia, and I sat down there to advise them specifically on Sharia matters. Is this person competent in as far as the content of Sharia law is concerned or not? And one of the candidates I interviewed that time is the current Deputy Chief Kadhi, Sheikh Sukyan. So why I'm satisfied is that they reach out to a person who is conversant with Sharia to sit down with them to vet the candidate. Why I'm saying now, because previously it was not like that. They would just sit down. We have cases, without mentioning names, where actually somebody was just asked to recite Surah Al-Fatiha. And when he recited Surah Al-Fatiha, because among the Muslims who are sitting in that panel, there was somebody who, by virtue of being a Muslim, was given the opportunity to interview now. Say, can you recite Surah Al-Fatiha? And that was it. That was then.
But again, coming from a layman point of view, it is viewed that this position of the Chief Kadhi is reserved for a particular community, for a particular group of people. That has been the perception all along.
We want to correct that today. We have to correct that today. At the right time, raise that question, and if you want us to correct it now, we are. And
I'm asking right now. I mean, it has been perceived because right now we are saying the current Chief Kadhi is Sheikh Muhdar Hussein, Ahmed Muhdar Hussein. The previous is Sheikh Hamad Kassim, and so basically the lineage is like it's perceived. If you allow me to draw an analogy, if you see the way the history of Saudi Arabia, for example, Muhammad al-Saud and Sheikh Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahab, the way they combined together and they built that kingdom in such a way that even today, the chief sheikh, the head sheikh of Saudi will come from Banu Tamimi, which is the lineage of Sheikh Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahab, and the king will come from the family of Muhammad al-Saud. So if you allow me to do an analogy, that's it. Like the Kadhi, the position of the chief Kadhi, it's like it's reserved for a particular family.
Okay, I'm glad you used the word perception, because it is exactly that.
Exactly,
and we're not going to be guided by perception. Can we be guided by the law as it is? There is nothing in the law. Maybe that is just a coincidence, but the law is very clear. It does not talk about any clan or any people from any region. It is supposed to be who is qualified to do that. So it's a perception, and we need to deal with that perception. We need to deal with that perception, inshallah, by correcting. You know, we're already hearing voices of people are saying, now we want a Kadhi now to move, the next Chief Kadhi should not be from this community. Let it be a qualified Muslim, a person who satisfied the Judicial Service Commission. It does not matter where that person comes from. He could as well be from the same people who have been appointed as Chief Kadhis from independence. There is no problem, as long as it is through a very clear, transparent process, strictly as per the Constitution and the other laid down rules and procedures. Can we stop interfering
Before I
with this
let you
process?
go and go to Sheikh Sukyan, I just want to ask one request, and I'm not putting you on the spot, just asking you a request right on camera. Now that you say that last time you took part in the panel of interviewing the current Chief Justice, Chief Qadi, the same way the selection and the interviewing of the Chief Qadi was televised live and people, the whole country got to witness. Can we have the same for the Chief Qadi? Would you invite us?
Why not? And that's why I'm saying a transparent process. Why not? If it takes cameras to be there for it to be transparent, why not?
Public appeal. I'm appealing now to my bosses, inshallah. I'm going to write to you. We need to bring that live. Deputy Chief Kadhi, Sheikh Hassan, I want to come to you. Now, rumor has it that we have a number of ladies who have applied for the positions of Kadhis. Rumor has it. We have not seen it. We have not read it. But rumor has it. A number of people, maybe some of those who applied, went out and spoke about it, that they have advertised. Without putting you on the spot, your personal opinion, not as the Deputy Chief Kadhi, but Sheikh Hassan, Omar, your personal opinion on this, what is it?
Thank you, Mr. Faisal, once again for this question. Yes, the position, of course, is a public position. And there is nothing in the law that says that it is reserved by this gender or that gender. But now we will be guided by the Islamic tenets, because the judge that we want is Islamic judge here. The Kadhi is Islamic judge who must meet the threshold required for a judge in the eye of the Sharia. Yes, this is the position. Therefore, my honest position on this is that there are different opinions of the scholars on the same. But owing to what we are doing as a court, the limited area that we operate in, the limited jurisdiction that we have, I don't think that ladies from the Sharia point of view could qualify to be a Kadhi.
That's your point of view?
Yes.
Sheikh Rashid Ali Omar, you want to drop in some additions to that?
Yes, it is not. We are not aware now. We don't know whether they applied. But
Exactly.
what we know is that
rumor has it.
But what we are aware.
Yes.
The first lot which were recruited.
Yes.
There were 3 ladies who applied for it.
And
there is now the possibility of them applying. But I also concur with the jurisdiction of the Kadhi's court, the delicacies it has, the family issues and all these things. And from the point of view of the majority of scholars, al-jamhur,
yes,
they cannot be actually Qadi, Muslim Qadi as women, majority.
Yes, Sheikh Ibrahim
Lethome. I'm not going to talk about a rumor. In that panel that I sat, when we interviewed the current Chief Kadhi and a few other Kadhis,
yes,
where Sheikh Sukyan also came in as a candidate for the position of the Chief Kadhi, there were 2 ladies also, graduates from Zanzibar University, Islamic University. They came and applied, but in the view of the Judicial Service Commission, then they said, okay, as Sheikh Sukyan has said very clearly, there is nothing in the law that bars them from applying for that. But remember, although the Kadhi's court is part of the judiciary, but this is a very special court. And the jurisdiction is strictly Islamic personal law, guided by Islamic jurisprudence.
Yeah.
So even when we are talking about the person sitting that office, we have to be guided by Islamic principles. So I want to concur with my 2 colleagues here. It is clear. And for the avoidance of doubt, Faisal,
yes,
you know, there are some people who say, we have Qadhis in the Arab world who are women. Remember, in the Arab world, the word Qadhi is used for the name judge. That is the Arabic translation of judge. But when we talk about a Kadhi in Kenya, it is specific to that Islamic court. So because I've heard even people, scholars, Muslim scholars, saying that in the Arab world we have female Qadhis. They are judges, but in Arabic they're called Qadhis. In Kenya, the moment you say Qadhi, you mean
the context.
Yeah, the
changes.
context is different.
Okay.
So that's the position as of now.
One of the reasons as to why the ladies would apply for these positions, again, if they applied, and you've confirmed that they applied. I don't know about this lot if they have applied or not, but again, we have understood your positions, all the three of you. But one of the reasons as to why these ladies would apply for this position is because they believe they are not getting justice, and that's from the basis of our whole conversation tonight. Dispensation of justice in the Kadhi's court. They believe that they are marginalized in these courts, a court that, quote unquote, full of chauvinists, male chauvinists, correct? Just to back that up, there is a tweet from Real Nusrat, says, after I struggled for a whole year getting my divorce from the Kadhi's court because my ex simply refused to give it to me out, despite the fact that he moved on and married and continued his life. So basically, I'm being held hostage. That's from Real Nusrat, a tweet. So basically, the ladies, there is a, again, perception that the ladies are being marginalized in the courts that are male-dominated. That is why they want positions in this court. Dr. Rashid, I see you already smiling. I'm going to give you the chance to shoot it first.
Bismillah. Just the issue of justice does not require female or male to be there in the courts. The issue of justice is the issue of law, and especially this one is the fear of God. Whether we put women just like the other courts or not, you see that there are backlogs, there are problems there. It doesn't mean that men are against women. Especially this court, if I have to say the truth, we have been labeled to be Kadhis for women. It used to be true, and every man will tell us, this court of yours is for women, and you always give them their rights, you do this thing, and this is, now this lady, I don't know whether it is isolated or not, but she has a right to get divorced. But we have to be very careful again. These things must be, if every woman that will come to court, the Kadhi's court, after a dispute, or is a small dispute, is being given divorce, then all of us will not have wives and the family will be ruptured. The entire family issue. Maybe there is a system we talk, the Sheikh knows, and we read sometimes that this issue of divorce, we should not hasten in it. It is a principle being accepted because we found that sometimes some ladies will just, because of a quarrel, they come and file a case. They need this thing to be hastened. And we have to be, because I am saying that the familial issue is a delicate issue. Unless we handle it very procedurally and very professionally, then there won't be any family. For her isolated case, I think she can raise. The other issue, what we want to say is, there are procedures to be followed. If somebody finds that he's not getting justice, her or him, and that is writing letters or going to higher offices, and saying the same. Or now today we have somebody who is a deputy registrar for Kadhi's court at the Supreme Court. That is the person at the magistrates and the Kadhi's court. He is the Kadhi's side personally. And we hope we will have also a registrar for the Kadhi's court, which will be isolated. These are the people who are supposed to handle if somebody is aggrieved.
Very good question. Very good conversation there. Thanks so much for the answer. And you just preempted my next question, of which I'm going to direct it to Deputy Chief Kadhi, Sheikh Hassan. And this is coming from a viewer who said that he has, actually, he agrees, and he goes by the ruling and everything to do with the Kadhi's court. And he has taken the case there, but he did not get justice. As perceived, he did not get justice, and the case was taken to a higher court, right? To high court for the appellate system. Basically, it was taken to be challenged, the ruling at the high court level. So him being a Muslim, what else can he do to still be within the jurisdiction of the Sharia, right? Because he believes in the Quran and the Sunnah as the ultimate Sharia, right? But again, now the case did not go as per the wish. It's been taken to a high court. The ruling has been challenged. So what are the options basically to be done for him still to remain within the jurisdiction of Sharia and the Quran and the Sunnah? Sheikh Sukyan.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Courts, be it be a Kadhi or whoever, or whoever has been charged to determine on the fate of the people or determination of are bound to sometimes to an error. Very possible. That's very possible. We are human beings. We are fallible. Therefore, when we sit there, it doesn't mean that we are not sinners. Okay? One of the things that we have, the system that we have in Kenya, we have got an appellate system. The Kadhi's court, like the rest of the lower courts, we are the subordinate courts or the courts of the first instance. Anybody who is not happy, satisfied with our decision, like any other court, have the constitutional right or the legal right to appeal against our decisions to the next court. The next court is the High Court. If you are not satisfied, still you can as well go up to the Supreme Court. There is nothing wrong with that. That system is there. All this is guided by the law, is governed by the law. There is a procedure to be followed. For the High Court, the civil procedure provides that governs the procedural aspect of the lower court, especially that Chief Kadhi should be there as an assessor to assist the judge, or if the decision or two Kadhi should be sitting there to assist the judge. The appeal system is there, and is the right way to deal with any outcome that we are not happy with. But we have no problem with this. We can be corrected. Normally we said when you pass our judgments, now you have got a right to appeal if you are not satisfied. Anybody not satisfied, you have a right to appeal. It's open for you. Also, you have a right of a review to the same court itself, going back. This is just a normal system. There is nothing wrong with that, and the Muslims also are checking in the system. All right. If the issue is a substantive issue of the Islamic law, always the judges over there have to call for the Kadhis or the experts to guide them on the same. But mainly, for your information, the appeals from the Kadhi's court is not on the substantive Islamic Muslim law. It is on the basis of the procedure. Or rather, sometimes, or most of the times of late, there are two issues that have come. One was created by the enactment of the Children's Act, which was trying to, in a way, to isolate the Kadhi's court, giving the entire affairs of the kids to the children court. Okay? These have raised a problem. Where everybody comes that anyone who wants to run away from this, from the responsibility will come and say that, no, I don't submit. So, no, so actually, the court doesn't have a jurisdiction. And then the Constitution of 2010 brought another problem, hazards, actually, big hazards, whereby with a stroke of a pen, you can say that I don't submit is enough. Okay? The courts of the superior courts have interpreted these two into different ways. There are two schools of thought. It's quite unfortunate. It's really quite unfortunate. But what is now most serious is for a Muslim to say that I don't submit to the court that rules in accordance with the Sharia. That's the biggest danger that most of us are falling in. Biggest problem.
Is that a classical definition of rather interpretation of yu'minuna bi ba'd wa yakfuruna bi ba'd? When it favors you, run to the Kadhi's court, and it doesn't favor you, run away from the Kadhi's court? Anyway, yes.
And to add,
now I have an experience of somebody who moved the court, himself or herself. The moment that he or she loses the case, at the execution stage, okay, he or she might come back to the same court and say that we don't have jurisdiction. And he or she was the move of the initial
But is it the same with all the courts, even the conventional courts? Does it happen everywhere in all the courts?
But now for a Muslim, this is something very different. When a Muslim says, I don't submit to the court that rules with the Qala Allah, Qala Rasulullah, this is the biggest danger that we are trying to track in.
Okay.
So Muslims need to be warned on this. I don't submit is a very serious statement. Otherwise, you say that I don't submit to the rules of Allah and His Prophet. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Sheikh Ibrahim Lethome, you're banning just very few seconds. If you can just drop your thoughts on this, because I can see you're deep, engrossed in your thoughts, and always wanting to, you're banning up something wants to come out. Very few seconds before you go for a break. Just add what you did say.
I want to agree with my brothers here. The issue of submission to the Kadhi's courts. Should it even be negotiable for any Muslim, actually? knowing for sure I am going here where the officer sitting there, that is the Kadhi, is going to be guided by قال الله تعالى وقال رسول صلى الله عليه وسلم, and then because it does not suit me, I decide I do not submit. Do you know what that means, Faisal? I do not submit to Islam. That is what it means. And that is the job for the imams. We need to do a lot of da'wah to our Muslims. They should know the import of that. The magnitude of saying, I do not submit to the Kadhi's courts. It's very serious. That is all I want to say now.
Thank you. Dr. Rashid, I want to come to you, but again, we are due for our first break. But just to represent the voice that is absent from this panel, I have a spanner that I want to drop in the works, and I want Sheikh Rashid to help me actually solve that puzzle. But this and much more do not go away.
Alhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hadithi yetu ya wiki hii ni hadithi ya Abi Hurairah radhiyallahu anhu iliyopokewa katika Sunan at-Tirmidhi. Asema Mtume sallallahu alayhi wasallam, almar'u ala dini khalilih falyanzur ahadukum man yukhalil. Asema Bwana Mtume sallallahu alayhi wasallam, kwa hakika mtu yuko katika dini na yuko katika njia na yuko katika mwenendo wa rafiki zake. Falyanzur ahadukum man yukhalil, basi kila mmoja wenu angalie amemchagua nani kwa rafiki yake. Maashara almuslimin, marafiki Waarabu wanasema as-sahibu sahib, kwa hakika rafiki huwa yuwakuvuta. Ikiwa ni mtu wa khairi, basi atakuvuta kwa khairi. Ikiwa ni mtu wa shari, atakuvuta kwa shari. Je, wajua ya kwamba kuna watu siku ya kiyama watakuwa ni wenye kuingia katika moto wa jahannam, na sababu ya msingi ni kwamba walikuwa na marafiki wabaya, kama alivyotueleza Mwenyezi Mungu Subhanahu wa Ta'ala ya kwamba baadhi ya watu wanapoingizwa katika moto wa jahannam wanalia kwa uchungu na kusema, ya laitani lam attakhidh fulanan khalila laqad adallani ani dhikri ba'da idh ja'ani. Ali akiwa ndani ya moto wa jahannam asema, laiti singemfanya mtu fulani kuwa rafiki yangu. Kwa nini? Kwa sababu mimi nilikuwa katika njia iliyonyoka, nilikuwa na swali, nilikuwa nafunga, nilikuwa nafanya khairi, nilikuwa natafutia riziki watoto wangu, kisha akaja yeye akaniondoa katika njia hii. Ahibati fillah, kila mmoja wetu yuko katika dini ya rafiki zake na mwenendo wao. Ahsantum wa jazakumullahu khairan.
Allahu akbar, Allahu akbar, Allahu akbar, Allahu akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa Allah, ashhadu an la ilaha illa Allah, ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah, ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Hayya ala salah, الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
May you be blessed in this month of Ramadan. Ramadan Mubarak. The Ramadan timetable is brought to you by the House of Peptang. The Ramadan timetable is brought to you by the House of Peptang.
Ramadhani karibu tulikusubiria, wetu mwema habibu tulikungojea. Karibu wetu hubi habibu, qalbi laka muhibu, hubban la yabidu. Ramadhani karibu tulikusubiria, wetu mwema habibu tulikungojea. Karibu wetu hubi habibu, qalbi laka muhibu, hubban la yabidu. Karibu mwezi mwema tulikusubiria, ni nyingi zako neema nashindwa simulia. Mwanzo wako ni rahma, mtume katwambia, twamuomba karima rahma kutupatia. Nyoyo
Health is an important aspect of physical and mental wellness for human growth and prosperity.
Malaria is a disease that is much more of the tropics.
We take a deep dive to inform you on how to take care of your mental well-being.
Who is more at risk of getting this mental illness? Each one of us is at risk of getting a mental illness.
On Stay Healthy, we bring you insights from experts with vast experience that will leave you informed and intrigued.
Cervical cancer, from infection to when it manifests with symptoms, it can take 10 to 20 years.
Make a date with us on Stay Healthy with Mariam Salim. Jamia Mosque Nairobi ikishirikiana na Horizon TV inawaletea kipindi spesheli The Ramadan Quiz Show, moja kwa moja kwenye nusu fainali Jumapili tarehe 2 mwezi Mei na kwenye fainali tarehe 9 Mei. Watakaoshiriki mashindano haya ni chuo kikuu cha RAF, shule ya sekondari ya Wami na chuo cha Abubakar Siddiq. Usikose kutizama mashindano haya mubashara katika kitengo cha Quran, Hadith, Tauhid, Sira na lugha ya Kiarabu kuanzia saa 8 mchana kwenye Horizon TV, runinga uipendayo. This Ramadan, Horizon TV presents Q&A with Sheikh Badru Jafar.
Why are Muslims not unified in their fasting?
We tackle contentious issues.
There's a difference between Kenya and other regions in terms of sunrise and sunsetting.
And in matters health,
is it permissible for a diabetic patient to take insulin injection while fasting?
Abstain or avoid anything that nullifies or breaks their fast from dawn to dusk.
And what are the nullifiers?
Eating and drinking.
Sheikh Jamaluddin.
My wife is a Hafiz and I'm not. Can she lead Taraweeh prayers?
Women can only lead other women in prayers.
Ramadan Q&A.
Is practicing the secret habit, al-ada sirriya, known as masturbation, does it nullify the fast? Huu maita sema qaddimuni qaddimuni, nitangulizeni nitangulizeni.
Ukishaonja mauti, makazi mapya ya kungoja.
Usiku wa kwanza kaburini ni usiku mzito sana.
Safari ya maisha ya akhira ishang'oa nanga.
Ni maisha ya barzakh ndo sehemu ya kwanza ya maisha ya mtu ya akhira.
Uliyoyatenda duniani ya kungoja kaburini.
Na akiwa ni mtu mwovu asema wailakum, ole wenu, mwanipeleka wapi? Msinipeleke kule. Mtu akikutana na khairi ndani ya kaburi lake, basi baada hapo ni sahali.
Ila nafsi itaonja mauti.
Ishi utakavyoishi, mwisho wako utatoka.
Jumuika na Sheikh Jamaluddin pamoja na Al-Habibu Muhammad Shakombo ndani ya msimu wa pili kwenye kipindi Maisha ya Akhira ndani ya Horizon TV.
Dua unapokwenda kulala: Allahumma bismika amutu wa ahya, ewe Mwenyezi Mungu, kwa jina lako nafa na nitafufuka. Dua unapoamka: soma alhamdulillahi alladhi ahyana ba'da ma amatana wa ilayhi nushur, namshukuru Mwenyezi Mungu ambaye amenifufua baada ya kunifisha na kwake yeye tunarejea.
Kupata hii kama sikiza tune yako, bonyeza *812 *316#. Verse of the day.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. كتب عليكم إذا حضر أحدكم الموت إن ترك خيرا الوصية للوالدين والأقربين بالمعروف حقا على المتقين. فمن بدله بعدما سمعه فإنما إثمه على الذين يبدلونه إن الله سميع عليم.
The verse of the day is brought to you by Gulf African Bank.
Everyone
wants something different in life, something unique. Everyone values fairness and transparency. Everyone adores a great partner who is always there for them. We are founded on principles of fairness, ethics, and transparency. With us, you discover interest-free banking. With us, you discover fair banking. With us, you discover inclusivity. We bank with all, regardless of their faith. Get all these and more by banking with Gulf African Bank. SMS JOIN to 21981 today to get started. Ramadan Mubarak. Gulf African Bank is regulated by the Central Bank of Kenya.
Na sasa mafuta ya nyota yanakuja na mwonekano mpya. Vile nyota inavyong'aa angani, ng'arisha mapishi yako na mafuta ya nyota. Ni mafuta halisi yenye afya tele bila lehemu, yani cholesterol. Ina harufu nzuri ya kuvutia na ladha ya aina yake. Kwa mapishi bora tumia mafuta ya nyota. Furahia vyakula vitamu na familia yako bila kuwasahau majirani. Nyota, your healthy choice.
Central Kenya saw the light of Islam in the 18th century through porters and tour guides from the coastal strip, accompanying white settlers in their inland excursions. This led to the creation of Muslims' informal settlements, Majengo, spread all over the region, especially in major towns like Nyeri, Murang'a, Thika, Kutus, among others. As the community of Muslims grew, there was an urgent need for more reliable and independent sources to meet critical societal needs. Nyeri Muslims, under the leadership of Nyeri Muslim Mosque Association Nyema, embarked on an ambitious work project which is the first of its nature in the region.
The project is estimated to cost 60 million Kenyan shillings with a completion period of 2 years.
The structure entails accommodating both commercial and residential space with a projected monthly income of 500,000 Kenya shillings. On completion, the project is envisaged to address lack of school fees, especially for bright students, provide financial support to vulnerable groups like widows, orphans, and the youth.
We are appealing to all Muslims, nationally and internationally, to donate to this deserving investment.
Send your contribution to M-Pesa paybill number 707511, account number WAKF, or Kenya Commercial Bank Nyeri branch, account number 12351175553, account name Nyeri Muslim Mosque Association Construction.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Majid Cosmetic Center, Isli, 1st Avenue, 5th Street, Nairobi, on Siham Cosmetic Center, ground floor. Come and get quality products including perfumes, cosmetics, beauty products from the best brands in the world on discounted prices, wholesale and retail. We provide delivery services.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you so much for keeping it live, Real Talk. Tonight we are talking about the dispensation of justice in the Chief Kadhi. And before the break, we were talking about matter submission to the Kadhi's court, and I mean, strong words came that we do highly acknowledge and respect. But Sheikh Rashid Ali Omar, my question was, the Deputy Chief Kadhi, Sheikh Sukyan, mentioned about Kadhi's involvement in the other courts, right? In this context, if the parties are Muslim and they want to be ruled as per the Sharia. So, being a member of the Muslim community, I might have interacted, I have interacted maybe with some judges or the Kadhis, the judges who sit at the Kadhis, and I feel this Kadhi might be having conflict of interest, right? And he might not give justice per se, quote unquote. So in this context, I run to maybe the High Court or the Court of Appeal, expecting to get justice at that particular level. What's wrong with that? I'm not submitting just to the Kadhi's court, but does that not entirely mean that I don't submit to قال الله قال Rasul, the Quran and the Sunnah?
The issue of submission, first of all, if I go back to when this 2010 constitution was made,
yeah,
the previous constitution had nothing like that. It was a deliberate issue put there. First of all, let us think of even the right being put there. And when Sheikh Lethome was part of that that team of the commission which was dealing with that one, all the drafts which were being made contained nothing of that sort. Some people just fixed it so that the main objective, the way in my view, was just to make the Kadhi's court redundant. Nothing more, nothing less. And it was one of the biggest things that it was being placed there. However, again, the other system, the judiciary system, it is wrong for even jurisprudentially, even not only that one, logically. And it is wrong, you say that at the lower court, you will have a Kadhi's court who will deal with Islamic matters under a given jurisdiction. Then in the higher court, somebody who is not conversant with the Islamic law will deal with it. It is wrong. The right thing was to have an Islamic high court. That is the thing. And this is where our rights, we are not getting our right. It is quite wrong. And it can't even logically, you can't think of it. And that's where the mistake came from. And we have still to fight for it. However, the Kadhis who are there are assessors. And being assessors does not mean that the judge will fall. And many judges, we have been there, many judges will even go to contrary and think of what they think, they will just rule the way they want. This is where we are saying the High Court, the judge being there, and here the Kadhi is being denied the jurisdiction in the matters which was being given him. So somebody being not submitting to it means that they thought the Kadhi's court will lack clients to go to it, and then it becomes redundant in future, whereas they can call later on for the Kadhi's court. There is no meaning, they are just taking the taxpayers' money. But Allah did not wish that one. It is becoming even more. Beside what he's saying that this is a hindrance to the dispensation of the justice by the Kadhis, at the same time, the people who are going for Kadhi's court are increasing. Those ones failed, and Allah made them to fail, whatsoever they wanted. In that perspectives, we have to push, because it is, as the judiciary, we have to push for the High Court to have the Kadhi's court. The other issue we have to know that they are human beings. And it is not the first time the Islamic judiciary, somebody who is an educator failed, or maybe he misunderstood, or went, this is a normal human being. The way we are failing in the constitution making and in law making, and we want to amend everything, that is the human mind. And that is what happens.
Okay, okay, that is well understood.
But at the meantime, going for Court of Appeal is just, since the Kadhis are there, it is the only option that we have.
So we go to the Kadhis and be satisfied with what the Kadhis rule. That's the message I'm getting, correct?
No, you should not be satisfied. We am not saying. Many of our judgments went ahead. Some went contrary and some upheld. So it is just like magistrates court also. In that perspective now, they are not looking from the Islamic perspectives. Why I'm saying that, Other judges are very good judges who look into issues and consult. Others, they have predetermined mind that this is a religious court, and they feel, because of the faith, and even anybody has faith, that it should go to the other secular ways. Just when we were talking about, when we were handling these children matters, they don't know about the children matters being impersonal status in Islam. Whereas we have what is called halana. This halana has been there in Islamic law. Children's maintenance, children's custody, and all these things. They now say that you have no jurisdiction. Therefore, and then the funny part of it, of these judges, of which I mentioned in my judgment sometimes, and I distributed to the one who are opposing to themselves, that they are not thinking out of the box. Why? We talk about the children's court being in Islamic, and we quote, and then at the end of the day, we have section 6 of the Qadis Act, which says that the rules you are supposed to apply in the Qadis court is that of the Islamic law. But no judge has ever mentioned that the rule is we are supposed to go back to the Islamic law on this matter. And that is one of the biasness that they have. And it is injustice to do that one, because they are not doing justice for the people and to the Qadis court.
Sheikh Ibrahim Lethome.
Faisal, one thing has to come out very clearly from this discussion.
Yes.
As Sheikh Sukyan said, and the former Deputy Chief Kadhi has said here, if you're not satisfied with the ruling of the Kadhi, they're human beings anyway, okay? Then you can appeal to the High Court. The only problem is that whereas the law provides that the appeal goes there, most likely the person sitting in the High Court is not conversant with Sharia law. So on matters of substantive Islamic law, you need the Kadhi now to come and help. But as it is now, the Kadhi, the Chief Kadhi, or 2 Kadhis will sit there as assessors, meaning their opinion is not binding, okay? And now what you're saying, and if you go back to the procedure, because Sheikh Dr. Omar here said, I was part of the constitution making process. If you look at our first draft of the constitution that we had proposed, the issue of submission was not there.
Okay.
It was inserted later. Then we had even proposed an appellate system for the Qadis courts to avoid this problem. That I go to the court of first instance, which is the Qadis courts. The procedure is Islamic there to a large extent. The substantive law is purely Islamic. I'm not satisfied with that. There is no problem with that. I go to an appellate system where now the Islamic law will not be applied because the people sitting there are not conversant. That is the problem that we have. So what we should be looking for in future, given a chance to improve the Qadis courts, number one, the element of submission to the Qadis courts should be removed. Then, but for now, we want to appeal to Muslims. Can you please, by virtue of being a Muslim, you submit. If you're not satisfied, appeal. And again, we in future, for any judicial reforms for us Muslims, we should agitate for an appellate system where we shall have a Qadis sitting at the appellate level, the high court level. They will just be dealing with appeals from the Qadis courts.
Once again, just to remind you, that was one of your proposals you proposed for the Building Bridges initiative, and it was shut down. Correct? Because it was
we will not give up. We'll still continue agitating for that.
Sorry, let me intervene. What he has said, the problem I want to raise to the Muslims who are viewing, that most of the advocates now who are coming to the Qadis court are non-Muslims.
Wow.
And what I have found out is that since they don't understand the Islamic law, they just advise their clients and tell them, don't submit. And that is where the problem is. When we have many Muslim advocates here, though we have even some Muslim advocates who even go for that, which is quite wrong. But the majority, when I was in that office, I was just, you have to look into how things are happening. Most of the Christian advocates will say, they advise their clients, say me too, you don't submit to the Qadis court. And that issue should be also looked into very seriously by the Muslim clients when they are taken, because that man does not like this belief and this law itself.
Another thing that should be looked at, thanks so much for that insight. Another thing that should be looked at, and Kadhi Sukyan, I would want your input on this. It's about a ruling that came out recently that you are not mandated to officially dissolve the previous marriage for you to get into the next marriage. What position does that put the Islamic dispensation, Islamic jurisprudence basically in general? Kadhi Sukyan.
Bismillah. Yeah, for a Muslim man, is being allowed by the Sharia to marry up to a maximum of 4 women at a go. He can't have beyond that at once. That is a Sharia provisions. For a Muslim woman, always you have to remain with only one husband. Right. So, if the import of the ruling that you have just referred to means that it will allow a woman, a Muslim woman, while she is in a marriage, have another marriage, or a Muslim man who have already 4 wives, a freedom to marry a 5th or a 6th or a 7th, or even the hundreds. If that's the position, that position cannot be applied in the Kadhi's court, because the Kadhi's court is mandated to apply only the Sharia, and the Sharia doesn't allow that. That is haram, prohibited. The other thing that from the from the secular law, from the mainstream law itself, as far as I'm concerned, any woman who goes for a marriage while she is already in another marriage, that is called a bigamy, and a bigamy is a crime to be punished. Okay. If a man is also in a monogamous marriage still, okay, that is not also allowed for him until he dissolves that marriage. That is the much that I know as far as the law is concerned. But for a Muslim, it's very clear that even if there is such a ruling, a Muslim, what is prohibited in the Sharia, a ruling of a judge, or an act of the parliament, or even a constitution will not make you lawful for you what is lawful. What is lawful for you will not be unlawful for you because it is in the constitution, because it is in the statutes, or because it's a decision of the court. This must be very clear for a Muslim. Thank you.
Yes, Dr.
I concur with him. The only thing is that one is not only Islamic, from Islamic point of view is clear, but on top of it, it is even jurisprudentially and logically and according to the jurisprudential theory quite a bad precedence to make such a ruling. Because even from the cultural aspect of it, where the basis he is making on this one, it is very actually annoying. As jurists, you go and make some precedents which even children cannot accept it. So you are being given okay, we have theories, legal theories, that we depend on it, on our rulings or even the rulings of the secular law, beside Islam. These theories does not allow, it should depend on even your culture. It should depend on your religion. It depends on the moral and values. Where do you bring it from? Just because of independency that you go into issue. I even feel that it is very wrong for some judges to make such things which will have a bad consequences in the society, the social system that we have it. Regardless of Islam or whatsoever it may be, from the general view, this is a bad law, a bad precedence that should not be heeded to. This is the way I feel.
It's already been passed. It's a jury. It's outside there now. What are the options available, despite over and above awareness creation about people having iman and having that moral decency not to go that route? What else can be done from the jury's point of view?
Faisal, you know, getting into a marriage, you must have the capacity to get into that marriage for it to be legally binding.
Yeah.
And if you're talking about the formalization of, let's say, a divorce process, the question that would like to ask the person involved, a party, let's say this is a woman or a man, at this particular moment, if somebody was to ask you, are you still legally married or not? The answer should be a clear yes or no. If it is a clear yes, you do not have the capacity to get into another marriage, especially if you're a man in a monogamous marriage, or if you're a Muslim man and you have four wives already, or if you're a woman, you're married, okay? But if the answer is, I do not know because the procedure is not complete, then it means you have no capacity to get into another marriage. So for me, there is a lot of ambiguity in this. So the best thing to clear off and for the avoidance of doubt, let the procedure be completed, and there is no doubt at all. This first marriage is over, legally it's over, and now you can go into another marriage. But if you say, okay, the procedure can continue, but you can continue and conduct another marriage, there has to be a cutoff point. At this point, I'm either married or not married. If the answer, I don't know, then you're still married until it is clear that you're not married.
But that narrows down to the individual now. I'm talking about policy level, the structural level. What else can we do? This over and above creating awareness about the moral decency, about the religion, about ethics and values. What else can be done? Maybe
but the law is very clear
about it, maybe.
We just need to sensitize people about the law. You do not have the capacity to conduct another marriage if you are still married. You are still in another marriage. Simple. The law is very clear.
The way I feel, Faisal.
Yes.
People should go for an appeal. What should be done? This is just actually at the High Court. And why I say it that way, why was I saying this is a bad precedent? Because it will create conflict. Suppose the other man says, I have not divorced my wife, and that you make two men to fight. This is a situation. Conflict. Law does not encourage conflicts. Therefore, the only thing to avoid conflict is that to ensure this woman has been divorced. And to ensure is that when the procedure should be followed. That is why I don't know the judge who has made. But I found, as from the juristic perspective, it is a bad law. And therefore, people should go, the alternative is that one, it should be challenged.
Okay.
At the Court of Appeal.
Thank you. Thanks so much. Deputy Chief Kadhi, Sheikh Sukyan. Sheikh Sukyan, there are complaints that the judiciary, especially the Kadhi's court, take ages to give rulings and judgments. They take ages. They take so long. And in the process, a lot of things happen. You know, if it's lack of interest, conflict of interest come up, lack of interest comes in, and basically a lot happens in the process because the courts take too long to make a ruling and dispense judges.
That is very possible, but as far as I'm concerned, the Kadhi's court is the most efficient court in terms of dispensation of the justice. For example, for me, for example, my judgments would not delay more than 2 weeks. If I give a date, I deliver. The law requires the judgment, the timing that you give a judgment is being guided by the law, the procedure itself. And that is actually a pure 2 months, 60 days.
60 days?
60 days.
Maximum?
Maximum.
Perfect.
If you are not able to deliver, then you must give reason why that you shall not be able to give. So I do not think in the Kadhi's court there is any judgment. Remember, judgment means is for the time when the litigation was concluded. Okay? Yeah. The case was heard, concluded, submission made, and now the judge gives a date that is he or she is going to pronounce the judgment. Okay. Right? It's right from that time. You count 2 months. That is 60 days. And I believe that the way I myself do, most of the Kadhi's court, they do deliver their judgment within the right time. What perhaps people may not be distinguishing is the process that the court takes right from the inception when the matter was filed to the time when the judgment is being delivered. This might take a quite time. Still, this also is guided by the policy within the judiciary. Every year we sign a performance contract in which we state that, look, my case, an actual case, rather a military case, which is being litigated from the word go, then we'll take this time to be determined. because the judge or the Kadhi, for this purpose, is supposed to be the person who's controlling the court process, your own court. Therefore, this might take quite a long time, depending on the nature of the case that you have.
Perfect.
Otherwise, that is the ruling that we have, and I believe that the Kadhi's court, perhaps if people might be going back to, in real sense, what's happening and guidance of the law, I do not think that we fall into that problem.
Sheikh, still on you. Some complain of the quote-unquote unprofessionalism, of the Kadhi's court. Case in point, with the recent pandemic, the coronavirus, a lot of the court processes have moved to virtual. So this particular consumer of justice from the Kadhi's court was online for more or less half a day, with no communication from the Kadhi's court, nor the registrar, nor the clerk. No one communicated, but there was just online waiting for the judgment to be issued, waiting for the judge to log in, waiting for people to come in and the case to start. Nothing happened. The whole half a day was lost, right? So this is just one of many that he quotes as unprofessionalism in the corridors of the Kadhi's court. Kadhi Sukyan, I'm going to start with you and then...
It's a very, very possible scenario that you're sensing.
Okay.
When we went for a virtual hearing,
yes,
remember this was technology, and technology brought with a lot of challenges to us. For example, for me yesterday, my court was in dark. Power outage completely. Where there is no power, there will be no internet, for example. Today I had 2 rulings to deliver. I used my phone. In fact, phone call. Phone?
Phone call.
Phone call. Are you getting me?
Yeah.
How difficult it is, right? This is very possible. It is very possible that maybe under some circumstances, there is that isolation case of maybe a Kadhi who is himself also have his own personal problem. It's very possible, right? But still, that doesn't mean that we rule out other challenges that the Kadhi or a magistrate can face. Okay? That is very, very possible. The other thing which is very possible, for example, I have 10 cases today, right?
Okay.
Then at 9 I start the cases, right? Everybody is on board, virtually, right?
Okay.
Now, perhaps one case might take 2 hours to be had with a lot of witnesses. It's very possible. There was a day that I dealt with only 1 case. I have to break after Dhuhr. I told them, please, let us put your file aside. I have other matters to deal with them. I dispose them very quickly. Perhaps they might not be litigious as yours. Okay? That's what normally happens sometimes. So this client is not only waiting for 2 hours, he or she will be waiting for even 6 hours. It's very possible. But when this is happening, remember, the court is still in session, very much in session. Only that calling of your matter, okay, the matters will be called as listed in the course list. Okay, number 1, 2, 3, 4. So you are in number 5 already. By 9 you are there. You're still waiting for this bill to conclude. We keep on waiting. That is very, very, very possible. It's not our make. Even if it's a physical court, it's the same thing will be happening. Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
I'd like to get the reactions of Dr. Rashid Ali Omar and Sheikh Ibrahim Lethome on the same case, because they seemed surprised when I was posing that question. Starting with you, Sheikh Rashid Ali Omar.
Before I go into this one,
yes,
the other one of the performance.
Okay.
I think I will refer to anybody who is saying that. The latest performance statistics of the Kadhi's court, which was between July and March, just last month.
Okay.
Which is out now. You see the backlog and everything has been statistically handled from Supreme Court to the lowest court.
Okay.
And you see that the Kadhis are doing well. Even the cases, you can't imagine that. You can't say the court of my brother here is now, they have about 341 cases. And those ones cannot be handled within the right time, maybe. But somebody should not say that the performance of the Kadhi's court is bad. while judiciary on the other side is saying the Qadis are doing well, more than even most of the courts, even High Court and others. That, I have to tell you, has been there for some time, that the Qadis court is being given certificates. If you go to his court, where now this Qadis court, you will see certificates that we are one of the best performing courts.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
And the way it is being said. But at least there will be some problems here and there for the Qadis. The problem we have with our Muslim brothers, they don't know how courts work. And this is the problem. The other thing, they don't come to the court, meet the Qadis, give them advice, because these are human beings. These are human beings. Sometimes the leaders, they can go to their sheikhs, and then the Qadi will not go and get advice from anybody. But they can go to the sheikhs who are there, like here, Sheikh, we have my brother here, Sheikh Lethome here, and say this is what is happening. And we, and I mean the judicial officers, as Muslims, they are right to hear from their Muslim brothers, and especially though ethically it is only a judicial matter, but now in such a circumstance, because you are working for the people, instead of shouting around and saying that the Qadis court hakuna ni mbaya, afadhali watu waende court ingine, people should go. This is what we hear around, and I think they are not doing justice. I was just asking sometimes myself when I was there, I invited Supreme Council, I invited this mosque to come to the Qadis court and just to see the way it is. And we talk about it. Nobody came. Several times. About 10 times I invited Muslim leaders. They don't want. And then that is an isolated court. When they hear from somebody that mimi nimesumbuliwa huko, they start shouting and increasing, waende wazungumze maneno mingi. Why don't they, this is their court. Why don't they see we to come together and change the situation? We from our part, as one of the previous leader and him and the Chief Kadhi, have changed the Qadis court, the image, the face, the professionalism. We don't have now a Kadhi who is not a graduate. This is one of the things, the graduate in Islamic Sharia. We have professional academician Qadis in the courts, and they need to be held. Hii maneno mengine ya chini chini ya hapa kuzungumza mambo ya kijikoni, we don't want. The other issue which Sheikh has talked about.
Jazakallah khair. Sheikh Ibrahim Lethome.
I'm sure those who are not satisfied with maybe a ruling of the Qadis courts, they will have nothing good to talk about the Qadis courts. And let me tell you, if we were to do a survey also about the other courts, those who are not satisfied with the ruling, because you know, people, when people go to court, litigants, they go there with the expectation that the case will go my way. So if it doesn't go his way, he has nothing good to say about that. There is no ruling out that there could be isolated cases, but that does not warrant any person blanketly saying Qadis courts are not professional. Let me tell you, I have seen the growth of the Qadis courts. When I started practicing in the 90s, maybe because by that time we had quite a number of Qadis who are not graduates. And even some of them, I won't mention names, who are his counterparts who could not even speak in English. And I was wondering how they were handling the advocates there. Okay? But today, let me tell you, some of the Qadis sitting there are qualified advocates of the High Court of Kenya. One of them is our Deputy Chief Kadhi, Sheikh Sukyan. He's a qualified advocate of the High Court of Kenya. He trained in our office, and I know that. He's a qualified. And so many others who hold a degree in LLB besides Sharia law. So now, just because somebody was not satisfied by that ruling, or it took so long because of the challenges with technology, and which was explained. Actually, I've really benefited from the explanation that the Kadhi has given here, Sheikh Sukyan. The delay could be caused by that. And let me tell you, even when courts operate in person, those delays are there. The Kadhi has about 5 matters. Your matter is number 5, but you are told to come in the morning, okay? You have to wait until he's through with the rest. So these are some of the challenges. But calling the Qadis courts unprofessional, this is very sad. And let me tell you, you know, in Islam, we have guidelines, even on advice. Okay, you find that something is wrong in the Qadis courts, come and advise them. That is what we call Amru bil Ma'ruf wa Nahy anil Munkar and Nasiha. Ad-Dinu Nasiha. Islam is about giving advice. How many times have I called the Qadis courts? there is this matter, can it be handled in a night without trying to influence the outcome? But somebody is complaining about this and that, can it be looked at? But now, blanketly condemning the courts as un-Islamic, I find it to be very unfortunate and professional. Yeah, and especially today, where we have professionals sitting there. I think that is misguided a little bit and is falling in the trap of those people who are hell-bent on removing the Kadhi's code from the constitution. But they will remain there, inshallah.
Inshallah.
To add on him, please. Yeah. That same issue before you go to the other.
Yes.
In support of what he has said, when I was defending my thesis just by virtual, some of the examiners couldn't come through. The short time I will have taken, it has taken me 5 hours waiting for other examiners to come in because of the technological hinge that they had it. So it is possible, and it is now a new era, and because of this COVID-19 issue,
yes,
we have to be very careful. I found now some people were complaining saying, sisi tulifungiwa nje ya koti ya Kadhi. Now what is now the measures which are supposed to be done everywhere? Are you going to blame the Kadhi, or you are going to blame the measures being put forward by the requirement for anti-COVID-19 protection?
Yes, yet it's for your own good at the end of the day, correct? Thank you so much. Jazakumullah khair, Allah barik fikum. Gentlemen, I would love us to continue this conversation, but still, I want us to come and talk about when the advertisements for the position of Chief Kadhi is announced. How does come and talk about that and seriously delve onto that matter, because this is something that is quite sensitive in the Muslim community and of course needs an amplifier. And alhamdulillah, for the Jamia Mosque Committee, we have Horizon TV. May Allah bless this old man. Barakallah fikum. Jazakumullah khair. Thanks so much, gentlemen. Thank you so much to the crew for making it possible. Ayub, my floor manager here. We have Rajab Ridwan. We have Muhammad Samubura. We have Suleiman Nachasov Tumbo, Nasser Hassan, Muhammad Otueo, and the whole crew side, Abud, Ibrahim Muhammad. Thank you so much. Jazakumullah khair. And you, the viewers, for keeping it live, real talk throughout the hour. See you next week, same place, same time. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Kuna faida gani twapata tukimjua Mtume sallallahu alayhi wasallam?
Nabii mwenye ushawishi mkubwa duniani.
Tukizikwa tukitiwa kaburini, tutaulizwa haya maswali matatu: man rabbuk, ma dinuk, man nabiyuk.
Sheikh Jamaluddin anakupa simulizi.
Huwezi kumpenda mtu usiyemjua
na kutambua sunna zake,
lakini ukimjua na ukimtambua Mtume Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, mapenzi yako yatazidi.
Ufahamu Rasulullah, familia na maswahaba wake. Tazama sira ya Mtume kila Jumatatu saa 1 jioni kwenye Horizon TV.
Ramadhani karibu, tulikusubiria, wetu mwema habibu, tulikungojea. Karibu wetu hubi habibu, qalbi laka muhibu, hubban la yabidu. Ramadhani karibu, tulikusubiria, wetu mwema habibu, tulikungojea. Karibu wetu hubi habibu, qalbi laka muhibu, hubban la yabidu. Karibu mwezi mwema, tulikusubiria, ni nyingi zako neema, nashindwa simulia. Mwanzo wako ni rahma, Mtume katwambia, twamuomba Karima rahma kutupatia nyoyo
Horizon TV, kurunzi ya taifa.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Inna alhamdulillah nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruh wa na'udhu billahi min shururi anfusina wa sayyiati a'malina man yahdihillahu fala mudilla lahu wa man yudlil fala hadiya lahu. Amma ba'd. Tunashukuru Mwenyezi Mungu Subhanahu wa Ta'ala kwa kutukutanisha tena katika kipindi kingine cha Ramadhan Quiz Show. Mtazamaji wa Horizon TV, karibu katika kipindi chetu kwa hii leo. Mimi ni wako mtangazaji wa zamu, jina ni Ratib Abdul Nur. Pamoja nami katika upande wa mahakimu tunao Sheikh Muhammad Abdullah Saleh ambaye atakuwa kwa upande wa kupatiana maksi kwa washindani wetu kwa hii leo. Vile vile pamoja naye tunaye mwenzangu ambaye ni Sheikh Muhammad Sheikh Ishaq ambaye tuko naye katika ofisi ya da'wa, naye ndiye mkurugenzi mkuu katika msikiti wa Jamia ambaye anasimamia upande wa da'wa. Kisha katika washindani wetu kwa hii leo tunao kutoka sehemu mbili. Tuna wale wanatoka maeneo ya Mahadul Banin na ni kama wafuatao. Tunaye Yaqub Siraj kutoka Mahadul Banin, vile vile tunaye Siad Jimale kutoka Mahadul Banin, na mwisho tunaye Abdul Halim Hilo. Tunawakaribisha sana katika mashindano yetu ya hii leo. Na upande wa pili tunao kutoka Raf University, tunaye Abubakar Zubair, karibu sana. Tuna Muhammad Nur, karibu vile vile, na Abdul Fatah Abdullah. Hawa ndio ambao vijana wetu wamejiunga nasi katika studio leo ili kuweza kushiriki katika mashindano yetu ya Ramadhan Quiz Show. Na shindano lenyewe kama unavyojua mtazamaji ni kipindi cha pili. Mwanzoni kulikuwa na teams 4 ambao walichuana juma lililotangulia, na kati yao teams 2 wakaweza kuibuka washindi, na insha Allah kati ya hawa watajiunga, mmoja wao atajiunga na wale ambao walioshinda katika juma lililotangulia. Na kwako mtazamaji, usisahau ya kwamba kuna swali ambalo nimekuwekea akiba. Ukiweza kujibu hili sawa, basi utakuwa mwenye kujishindia zawadi kemkem. Basi tuanze shindano letu kwa hii leo, na tutaanza na upande wa Raf University. Ningeomba wachague katika kitengo cha Qur'ani kutoka namba 1 hadi 15. Chagueni namba 1 ambayo nitarushia swali. Sualul awwal. Swali la kwanza katika Qur'ani. Swali la kwanza lasema hivi: sema ni sawa ama si sawa. Sawa ama si sawa. Haddi ya zina na kupigwa mawe na wizi zote zimetajwa katika surati Nur. Haddi ya kupigwa mawe na uwizi zote zimetajwa katika surati Nur. Ni sawa ama si sawa? Muda wenu unaanza hivi sasa.
Si sawa.
Sio sawa. Jazakumullahu khair. Mahakimu watatueleza kama si sawa ama si sawa, lakini baadaye watakapotusomea jumla ya maksi ambazo watakuwa wamepata. Nafasi hii naitoa kwa upande wa Mahadul Banin. Chagua kutoka namba 1 mpaka 15 isipokuwa nambari 1 ambalo tayari lishaulizwa. Chagua nambari. Namba 6. Namba 6, swali la sema hivi, sikiliza kwa makini. Kuichukua sura hii ni baraka, kuiacha ni hasara, na wachawi hawaiwezi. Ni sura ipi hii? Kuna choices hapa. Moja inasema ni surati Yasin, ni suratu Baqara, ni sura Safat, ni suratul Ikhlas. Ni ipi kati ya hizi sura 4? Mdaini unaanza hivi sasa.
Suratul Baqara.
Suratul Baqara. Barakallahu fikum. Nafasi ya pili kwa upande wa chuo kikuu cha Raf, kutoka namba 1 hadi 15. chagua nambari moja isipokuwa 1 na 6 kwa kitengo cha Qur'an. Number 8. Swali namba 8 lasema hivi: taja sura ambayo imeanza na majina ya matunda mawili. Sura ambayo imeanza kwa majina ya matunda mawili. Sura ipi? Mdoni unaanza hivi sasa. Sura At-Tin. Barakallahu fikum. Upande wa Mahadul Banin, nafasi ya pili kwenu nyinyi katika kitengo cha Qur'ani. Kutoka namba 1 hadi 15, chague namba 1 kati ya hayo isipokuwa namba 1, 6 na 8.
13.
Number 13. Number 13, sikiliza, tega masikio. Number 13 yasema hivi: taja idadi ya malaika watakaobeba arshi ya Allah siku ya Kiyama. Taja idadi ya malaika watakaobeba arshi ya Allah siku ya Kiyama. Mnaweza mkashauriana, mna sekunde 30 kuweza kutoa jawabu sahihi. Muda wenu unaelekea sekunde 23. Naam, 8. Malaika wa 8. Ahsantum, barakallahu fikum. Katika kitengo cha Qur'ani, swali la mwisho kwa Raf University, chague namba 1. Number 10. Swali nambari 10 yasema hivi: